freaking buffet girl.
Good day, Internet.
Oh, hi, Internet.
Hey, Internet. What's going on?
Maybe they could do a reality show based around like a restaurant buffet.
And buy it from you.
Now,
Or something.
the
Yeah.
buffet thing, buffets have always confused me.
Ooh, go on.
Because, okay,
The point.
so
It-
here's what's going on.
I can
very
see
curious
several
about this.
ways that would be true, but I'm curious which one you mean.
Yeah.
So the idea of like all you can eat buffet, we have a lot of that in Koreatown, right down the street from me. You know, it's like you pay money and you eat as much as you can, all good.
Sure.
And then Las
I mean,
Vegas.
they throttle you after you reach a certain limit, though.
They do.
just like mobile carriers.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's never as good as you think it's going to be, and also like who can eat 80 hot dogs? That's crazy.
Joey Chestnut.
But like the Las Vegas buffet has always been fun for me because I'm just like you just get so many options. You know, you go once, you eat, and then you go back, you eat other things, but you have to choose wisely because you're going to get full.
Yep.
Right.
And
Do you have any tips for how to pace
Is this where the
yourself?
confusion comes in?
How do you pace yourself when you do that, sir? Like, what are you going?
I just do
salads.
because it's like
Don't
when
do
you're
the
like, ooh,
salads.
mac and cheese. I want a lot of that. It's like, no, get one bite.
No.
Yeah.
One
Don't-
single bite because you're gonna go back.
Small
and you're gonna get more.
portions.
This
Yeah.
is
a little
this-
salad, a little, some tiny bit of meat. The whole thing.
the Chang guide to buffets is how much is it gonna cost you to eat, and then you make a list. You walk through and you make a list of all the most expensive dishes because you want to eat. You
Do
want
the
to.
Changs have like, just like
You want to chow down on those
Roger
because
does not
that's where
go
you get
to a
your money's
buffet without
worth,
a
right?
clipboard.
No.
If you're going to the Paris of the Wind, right, and you drop like $75, yeah, I'm getting all those, the Alaskan
good
king
stuff.
crab legs, right?
Yeah.
Because that's the most expensive. I mean, unless you have a shellfish
but
allergy.
it's like if you
That's
if you
what I
have
was
too
gonna
many of them, then you don't have the fun of the rest of it.
The problem is all the rest of it is the filler, right? All the desserts, that stuff is cheap to make. All the
I
pastas
don't
and
even
stuff,
go to
they're
the dessert
I mean they're
table.
cheap, they fill you. Anything with gravy, they're going to load up with any sort of starch, whether it's cornstarch, flour, whatever, just to thicken it to fill you up faster. And the salads, unless you really need the fiber, stick with the fruit because that's the higher profit area that you'll make.
Wow.
But the point
I feel
is
like,
for you.
we should do like a Rogers 2 cents about
The point
buffet
is
tables.
not to try to bankrupt the buffet. The point is for you to get $75 worth of enjoyment out of it.
Yeah.
Which,
Yeah.
in your case, I think just the making the list and figuring it out is paying for itself. Like that's your enjoyment.
Yeah, but also no one had. I don't know. Unless you're a human cow and you got 4 stomachs, you're gonna reach a physical limit, and you're not taking a dog.
Yeah, but
meat.
again, you're paying for
that's
the-
my thing. Is
You're
that
paying-
it's like
you're not
the
paying-
fun of the buffet is that you get to like go back
Exactly.
a few times.
The smartest thing to
You
do is
have the
never go to a
first-
buffet. Just
there you
buy
go.
food at cost
Well,
directly
but we're
from
not
a farm.
So
Right.
that's
but
near,
trust
neither
me,
here nor
I've tried
there.
to talk so many people out of buffets in Las Vegas. Like
No,
you know,
what you're paying for with the buffet is the experience of choice, of being able to I can choose to eat whatever I
Yeah.
want right now.
Yeah,
It-
I go.
if you're
sit
just
down.
paying by the
I have
pound,
the first
then
course,
don't
and
go
then
to a
I'm like,
buffet.
I was looking at these other ones.
It's like saying, don't pay to watch a movie. You won't remember all of it later. It's
True,
like,
you won't.
No, you're
You're gonna have to
enjoying
watch-
yourself.
I
You're
was
paying for
at-
the experience.
This was not in Vegas, but in LA, in Santa Monica. I was at like a fancy buffet on Easter Sunday. And, I was sort of like, buffet. Okay, sure. I'll go. And it was nice.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like, they had everything you wanted. Like, I was like, there's a whole, table of sushi. Like,
Right.
that's all
There's
I
a
would even
value
eat.
to having that many options.
Yeah, and it was
That goes
it was,
beyond the
it
cost
was,
of the food.
It was designed to be fancy.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
even then, so I was like, okay, just a little bit of everything. Only a little bit of everything because I want to go back a couple times because it's a buffet.
If you just want an all-you-can-eat, you should do it when they have the continental breakfast at at your hotel because then you can get all the eggs you want. Eggs, toast.
But how many eggs
You know, it's
do
cheaper
you want?
buying eggs, and making them yourself.
Yeah, but you're already staying at a hotel because you got to be somewhere, like when you're visiting.
I love it. Roger, I'm coming to you for all my needs when they're discount needs. That's what I'm going to do because you're good at that. You actually know.
He is actually.
I'm like one of
probably
those
the best.
jerks that when I go to somewhere, I to get souvenirs, I don't go to the souvenir shop. I go to the Walmart or I go to the Costco.
Yeah.
Like the Costco.
That doesn't make you a jerk. That's just smart.
But like when I go,
Yeah, that's
like
not
if you
jerk
want,
behavior.
like when you're in Hawaii and you want like a nice fresh lei, they sell a stack of them at the Costco. And they're so much
that's
fresher,
the move. Right.
right?
Yep.
And if you need like snorkel gear, like a paddle board, why don't you just pick it at Costco or Walmart? Like they have an entire section. They even sell like a little section of all the little trinkets and tchotchkes you get, and so instead of paying,
they
mean,
give
I
you a
just
lei when you
don't
get off
buy
the
the
plane.
trinkets
Do you
and
need
tchotchkes.
more leis?
They don't do that anymore. Hardly
No,
ever.
they don't.
Yeah.
They
Oh,
don't.
I didn't know that.
Sucks.
ever
been a
since they
while.
stopped the layover, it's just you get off the plane and you're
Oh
done.
gosh, I knew that
They're
was
like,
coming.
get out, go to
Well,
Walmart.
they definitely stopped during COVID. But I think they stopped even before that.
I mean,
Oh, okay.
I remember I used to had an uncle used to fly back to Taiwan and regularly when I was a kid, and that's when they still stopped over in Honolulu before they would fly the rest of the way across the Pacific. But with these new
Would he
fangled
get a lei?
2-engine planes, you can just make it on one flight.
Yeah. Well, that's great. For real though, I'm going to Roger for all my I need to.
What should I
need
eat, Roger? Well, what are your dietary limitations?
to- I'm going to say, how do we eat for
I just
$3
want
or
what's
less?
cheapest. What's the
Yeah.
cheapest thing I could
Roger's
eat?
like,
Do you want-
are you going to buffet? Because I have
yes,
some
no.
notes.
Do you have religious concerns? Because this bacon wrapped prawn is delicious.
Yeah.
Oh God, I would never.
good.
I
Oh,
would
listen.
never. That
How
does
can you
not
not?
sound
How
good.
can you not enjoy a pig wrapped around a shrimp?
'Cause I
How
don't
can
like
you not?
bacon.
When I
like
go
buns,
to-
but not bacon.
You know this, Roger. When I go to a buffet, I tend to try to find the things that I am least likely to get again.
Oh, interesting.
You know, like
Foods
what are the
like
things
this.
I don't get to
What
eat very
like
often?
what would that be?
I don't know. It kind of depends on the buffet, but I just look for stuff where I'm like, I wouldn't normally order that
like,
if
we're
I'm
not
only
gonna-
ordering
or get
one
this at
thing.
home or
Yeah,
something like
or
that.
it's like, oh, I don't see that very often. That's an unusual, you know.
I mean, I would say for me, like ceviche. I know not every buffet has that, but that's something where I'm like, I'm just not good at that.
Do you like ceviche for the flavor, or is it because of the word ceviche?
So
Both.
Why choose?
yeah, don't
Yeah,
choose.
why
There's
not both?
something about that
2-minute
word,
warning.
like
2 minutes.
Embrace the greatness.
it's sophisticated, but
it's
also
just,
accessible.
something where I'm like, I'm not gonna order this at home. Like,
Yeah.
it has to be fresh, and if it feels fresh, fun.
I mean,
That
how
would
do
be
you
on a
something
buffet
where
are
I'm like
dicey,
at a
though.
buffet. I'm like, I'm eating those ceviche.
Yeah, but
But you don't
shouldn't
worry about
ceviche
raw
always
things
be
on a
fresh?
buffet just sitting out.
Ugh, I do. I'm with Tom.
No, I don't.
I'm with wherever Tom's going with this because that's
I will say,
I mean, I have a
Indian
I have a
buffets are
stomach
pretty good
made of
deal.
iron. I don't.
Yeah.
Nothing makes me sick.
mind on.
you
Well,
know,
lots
you
of
say
things
that
make me
now.
sick
You
in
say
other
that
ways.
now.
Except bacon.
Except bacon.
Yeah. No,
watermelon.
Bacon doesn't make me
Oh,
sick.
What about bacon
I just
wrapped
don't
Yeah,
watermelon?
you just don't
Yeah,
like
yeah.
bacon,
I just don't
right?
like it.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
like
different.
bacon.
It makes
I don't
you
like
sick in a
watermelon.
metaphorical
Do you
way.
like
not
pork?
a,
Do you like not short ribs, but pork
Shellfish.
chops? And
No.
other parts of the pig? No, you're not.
But
a
I
pig
like
eater.
I like a ham and cheese sandy.
Oh, I hate ham.
Oh, I
Would
love ham
you
and
say
cheese.
you can go
I
ham
like
on
pork
a ham and cheese
loin,
sandwich?
which is the
I
meat
would
guy.
go
good.
ham if I was hungry enough. Yeah, like a ham and cheese croissant on a Saturday morning. Yum.
All right.
Ham and cheese croissant. That's a special kind of something right there.
That's fun.
I agree.
That's fun. So it's not that I don't like pork. I just don't like bacon.
Do you like rye bread?
Yes. I love rye
say it.
bread.
Hold on. Is this true?
Is this a
Skelly
leading
says
question?
the pH in the human stomach acid is closer to what vultures have, so eating older meat is what we evolved to do.
Really?
I don't know. I don't know if that's true.
I mean, I mean,
Your mileage
also,
may
like,
vary.
what is it?
if you mean older meat in that it's already been processed by bacteria, so you don't have to chew as much, maybe. I don't know.
No. I
I
don't care
mean,
about
we
chewing.
cook for a reason, and that's to get rid of the vulture meat.
Dang straight.
Nick with a C says Sarah would love Central London. Ham and cheese out the wazoo.
I'll be there tomorrow.
Got to clean off the wazoo first.
show, everybody.
See you at the airport. Good day, Internet. This is DTNS Live for Wednesday, July 16th, 2025. From Studio Animal House, I'm Sarah Lane.
From Studio 7 in Los Angeles, California, I'm Tom Merritt.
Here in Salt Lake City, I'm Scott Johnson.
And I'm the show's producer, Roger Chang.
DTNS Live is made possible thanks to your ongoing support, Justin Zellers, Carmine Bailey, Chris Beneteau, all of our patrons, and a brand new one. Everybody welcome Cy Jobling. Welcome, Cy. Great to have you.
We're 3 for 3 with new patrons on the show today.
Nice.
Very
Keep them
exciting.
coming. If you're out there going like, I want to be a new patron, there's nothing stopping you. Patreon.com/DTNS. Go do it.
Well, welcome everybody to DTNS Live. This is the show where we discuss the tech news to help us all understand it a little bit better. Sometimes we pepper in bacon to the show. Sometimes we don't. How is everyone doing? Scott Johnson.
Oh,
Let's start
peppered
with you.
bacon. You had me at peppered bacon. I'm doing fine. Doing okay. It's been a long time since last Wednesday, but mostly because I've been waiting on pins and needles for this Donkey Kong game tomorrow, which I know we're going to talk about later. I want to spill the beans, but man, am I excited about this. I'm so stoked.
Sounds very painful sitting on
Bonanza.
pins and needles.
Bonanza, like a banana, Tom, but spelled like, sort of
Can I
bonanza.
tell you something that will make you mad?
Go.
Jen Cutter has had that game and hadn't started playing it because she was saving it for her trip.
How'd she get it so early? The
I
Canadians.
don't know. I don't know.
Oh,
No, I think she got a review copy.
Oh, okay.
But it might have
Yeah.
been because she's Canadian.
Well,
Yeah.
today was the lifting of the embargo, so she if she'd had she couldn't have said anything really until today about it. So anyway, that does bum me out because I'm going to have to wait until midnight tonight. But I'm very excited and I can't wait to talk about it because
No,
it's
it
looking
shouldn't
like
bum you out. It should make you excited.
I'm excited.
I mean,
Excited for
summer.
midnight.
I mean, at least for students, summer's halfway through, so you only got so much time left to enjoy it while you have to go back to before you have go back to classes.
That's right, kids. Get your $70 out and
That's
be
right.
ready.
Right,
because-
kids.
That's
Doom's
right,
coming.
Scott. when you go back to your back to school,
Don't enjoy
sales,
yourself too much.
Yeah, school's on looming. It's a good word for it.
Isn't that kind of a funny thing where it's like the idea of going back to school for not all kids, but some kids, it's like, oh man, summer's over. Summer's so fun. We do fun things in the summer. But depending on where you live, summer vacation doesn't even exist anymore.
Right.
School goes, on throughout the year.
Yeah, they have
true.
breaks, though. They're just shorter breaks, but they
Yeah.
have more of them. So you still get like spring break, summer break.
Yeah. But it's less
But
of
it's not that
sort of
long,
like 3
3
months,
months,
we
yeah.
do something else.
I mean,
and
it's not
just
like
play
my
on the
kids-
dirt or whatever.
My kids start school in August, like the new fall year in August, and
Yeah.
their year ended at the beginning of June. So I mean, it's not a quite full 3 months, but
Yeah.
them's the breaks.
Yep.
Well, because the summer break was made for the farmers, and we just don't have as many kids who are farmers these days.
That's true.
As we used to.
True. Back to the fields with you.
Yeah, get in there, kids.
And the farmers don't tend to rely entirely on their children for labor as much as they used to.
True. That's true.
Yeah. Well, lucky you kids.
Miss the good old days.
What
If
you
are-
rely on your kids for on the farm is figuring out how to hack around John Deere's DRM because the
There you
kids
have
are
it.
better at that.
There you have
Right,
it.
right.
I knew there
And
was a
the kids
tech angle,
probably
Tom. I knew it.
know a lot more about this than you do. Listen, if you are listening live to the show, you can name this episode. We're on a roll already. Head to dtns.showbot.tv to submit titles and vote on them as we talk through some various topics throughout the show. We'll check back in on the votes at the end of the show, and you might be our winner. All right, let's kick it off with a few stories that caught our eye today.
The Wireless Power Consortium has certified 8 Qi 2.2 products and counting. There's more on the way. Qi 2.2 increases the charging speed of your wireless charging to 25 watts from the previous 15 watts. Also, from Qi 2 on, Apple's MagSafe is part of the Qi 2 standard. So you get the magnet opportunity as well. Current iPhones, except for the 16E and the HMD Skyline, support Qi 2.2. Other phones like the Samsung Galaxy S25 are Qi ready, which means that if you have a case that puts the magnets in there, then they're fully on board for the Qi standard. Qi. I feel like I said Qi a lot.
It's a lot of Chi-Chis.
Yeah.
There you go.
The celebration
You
of
know,
food.
and 2.2.
Enchilada plate.
Google announced its next Made by Google event is set for August 20th, where it's expected to unveil the Pixel 10 lineup, new Pixel watches, Pixel Buds, and possibly more. You know, there's always some surprises at these events. Some rumors also suggest the debut of Pixel Snap, which would be a MagSafe style magnetic charging system alongside Qi 2 compatible accessories.
There you go.
Yeah.
So to the Qi standard changes, Tom, if I've got like an original Qi charge device, this isn't I'm still gonna be able to charge it with a charger.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just-
These are
I'm
all
not gonna-
backwards compatible. Qi, Scott. Of course they
I
are.
know, Qi whiz. What am I thinking?
Qi Whiz.
So, but that's good because obviously I'll still get whatever the standard I was used to was.
Yeah.
But the idea is the newer stuff, faster, more efficient, all that.
Yeah, and there's a filing in Taiwan that indicates Apple might have its own 45 watt power for MagSafe that would only work with Apple iPhones. So that could eventually roll into a future Qi standard. So yeah, but it's all backwards compatible. So it's not like if you get a Qi 2.2 3-in-1 device from Anker or whatever, it wouldn't work with your phone. It will.
Gotcha.
Well, Google also released a security update for Chrome that addresses around a half dozen vulnerabilities, including one with a high severity rating of 8.8. That exploit is being used by attackers to escape the browser's sandbox protection via specially crafted HTML pages that execute arbitrary code within the browser's GPU process so they can sneak something by. That it is seen, and if you haven't, update Chrome as soon as you can.
Always, every day, update, patch.
I
Do the
actually have
thing.
a relaunched update right now in my
Yep.
Chrome, and I'm not going to do it because
I mean, this
I'll
isn't a
have to bounce out.
particularly more severe bug than any other, but just always keep
Yeah.
updated so you can protect yourself.
Yeah, there have been some really funky behaviors from recent updates, but even then, I still think it's better to have funky behaviors and still have the latest and avoid these security issues. So.
I will say that Chrome, or at least some of the Google services that people use with Chrome, actually does a pretty good job with the sandboxing, especially if you have attachments and you're unsure if you should open them. You can actually open them in Google Docs or Google Sheets, and that will kind of keep it in for you as long as you don't open it or through an executable.
Yeah, but just keep your eye out, folks. Seriously,
And
don't
patch.
get hacked.
Eyes and ears. Eyes and ears.
Eye patch.
Doors and corners.
All right, those are top 3 stories that caught our eye today. Let's move on to some discussions. So Seagate's HAMR, that's HAMR-based hard drives, are now available to consumers. They've been around for a while. Kind of, Seagate was sort of, I don't know, dangling this in front of consumers for a while.
They just sold them
saying-
to data centers. You had to be like a big
exactly.
enterprise.
Yeah. So consumers now can get a 30 terabyte model going for $600. Now that's not zero, but that is way cheaper than it would have been. 30 terabytes. I mean, it's like, what do you need 30 terabytes for? A lot of people say, "Oh, I know." So this has become something that just is more accessible to a lot of folks. They're part of Seagate's Mosaic 3 Plus platform. Use heat-assisted magnetic recording to boost density, particularly for AI and data-heavy storage needs. Seagate isn't alone here. Western Digital and Toshiba still testing and, planning future HAMR releases. So Seagate can claim it is the first to make technology commercially accessible. Who wants
Roger, how
those?
many of these did you buy?
I have not bought any.
No?
Because
What are you waiting on?
this is the weird thing. I used to think that there would be no limit to like, I'm always going to need a larger drive. But I recently, when I say recently, last year I picked up two 12 terabyte Toshibas for my NAS, and I have only filled up 40%, 45% of them, like with just like stuff, and they're mirrored, so there's redundancy. And granted, there's a loss of efficiency, but it's still at 40-45%.
Yeah.
I guess when I reach 65, I'll start looking at like I'm gonna need a larger drive.
I think I'm maybe around 8 terabytes of total storage now, which I still think sounds insane, but I could see a day when I would need this. I don't think today's that day. We should have done, Tom, we should have reached out to Joey Image, who I know listens to the show. That guy collects hard drives. I mean, that's all he cares about in life is how many hard drives can I find and buy. I will bet you money this ex-pro wrestler is eyeing that hard drive.
If he's already ordered 3 of these, if not more.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I guarantee. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty wild.
I
How
have
about
an
you, Tom? Is this something you wanna-
I have an 8 terabyte drive, and I have more than half of it available.
Goodness.
Yeah.
There's
When I got my Mac Mini last year, I was sort of like max out on memory. But like when it came to hard drive storage, I was like, what do I actually need? I've got several of these like 1 to 2 terabyte just external drives, where just things go on there and,
Yeah.
they're safe and
Isn't that crazy
they
though?
go in a
Isn't that
drawer.
crazy? Like I've got several terabyte drives. Terabyte used to be like, oh my gosh, do I need a
I
terabyte
know.
in my life? Yeah.
Indeed.
It's wild.
But when I got my Mac Mini, I was like, I'm going to max out on the memory, but I'm going to get 15 gigs of storage. And, at the time I was like, is this a good idea? But I use so much cloud storage now that it really has never been an issue. I mean, I'm looking at, what have I used? I've used, what do we got here? More info, Mac Mini. I have used, I've used
1,000 terabytes.
no. I mean, okay. So of 500 gigabytes, I have 370.52 gigabytes left.
Oh, my.
you don't
And
use
Yes, you haven't even used half of that.
And
Yeah.
I do. Yeah, I mean, we're all computing quite a bit, but it's like I don't need like the idea of having 30 terabytes is fun, but I'm like
sitting
I
here
just
like,
wouldn't use it.
I'm only using 3.5 terabytes of data, and Sarah's like, I got you, 300 gigabytes.
Yeah, hold
Wow.
my beer.
Yeah, but you're just doing everything in the cloud. I'm probably not putting as much up in the cloud.
I'm using a lot of stuff in the cloud,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
I also pay for. So I mean, it's
Yeah,
not like
sure.
I'm like I'm smarter than the next person, but yeah.
So
it
are you
just
gonna
works
get a
for
30?
me.
You're gonna get a 30 terabyte drive and pull everything down from the cloud now and stuff.
Yeah. Get
mean, you
all
don't-
my photos off Flickr.
Run tail scale
do
and
that.
just self-host everything.
But I do that though. I like try to keep copies, like, and I still use up only maybe 4.8 terabytes worth of
Okay.
data with photos and.
You're still ahead of me.
And this is the thing. What's interesting is I used to keep a lot of storage locally on the machine I was using, so laptop, PC, Mac, whatever. And then when I got my NAS, I just started saving everything onto that. So one, it's more efficient, so all the information's one spot. Two, it just makes using and accessing that information from any machine so much easier. And three, if I need a backup, I know there's only one backup I need to make. It's that NAS.
So you should always make 2 backups. But yeah,
Yes.
you've only got one place to make backups.
And if you make 2, you should make 3.
1, 2. Yeah, what is it? 3 is 2, 2 is 1, 1 is none.
Scott, do you remember the first computer you had and what kind of storage it had inside?
Yeah, the first one that really where storage mattered, I think it was probably my 386, and it was probably about a 40 megabyte hard drive.
Yeah.
And it seemed
Wow.
plenty because all I cared about was playing Wolfenstein and a few other things here and there. But I just thought at the time that was massive. Well, it was massive. And then
It
when I
was
got like a
massive.
250 megabyte drive, that seemed massive. But today I've already posted, I don't know, nearly a gigabyte and a half of just MP3 content. Just today, which means that I have many multiples of those hard drives being, used and sent.
My
It's
IBM
crazy.
PS2, I just looked it up because I wanted to double check. The model of IBM PS2 3286 that I had 30 megabytes of hard drive space on it.
Jeez.
My first hard drive was on a 286, and it was a 10 megabyte, and it was a 5.25 MFM, so it's like one of the big drives, and it had an MFM controller, so it used up a slot. That thing was, you could hear it, not like that, like it would spin up like it was like on a dyno.
Did you have to park it? I remember I had to park my hard drive on the PS2.
With DOS 5.0, I think at some point they introduced an auto parking feature, but you had to do that with MFN. Nice. With MFN when they moved to ATA for the new 2.5-inch drives. All that started being done internally on the firmware. It would.
I remember sometimes I'd forget to park my hard drive and I'd just risk it.
It's so weird. I stream in 8 minutes of time. I stream more data than that on Spotify or something than I do.
Yeah,
on that entire that's just crazy. We used to be okay, but then again, the needs were smaller, the software was smaller.
The guy.
Yeah, I mean, there was a time where a gigabyte was like, that's crazy.
Yeah,
who's gonna need that just for personal use? And now it's like many of us. And then it became the terabyte. Like, wow, that is crazy. Like, and storage costs have come down so much. I
need a whole terabyte of hard drive?
Do I need a whole terabyte? I mean, turns out
yes.
I do, but only
turns
a couple of
4.
them.
I will say
some people need quite a few, but we get into petabyte territory. I was talking about this with a friend the other day, and she's like, I have no idea what that is. And I'm like, oh, it's the one after terabyte.
Yeah.
1,000 terabytes.
And we're going to get there.
We're nearly
not all
there
of
now.
us, not 100% of us, but, that's where we're going.
If you're a media fiend and you want to, back up all your DVDs, all your music, everything, and then just have it in that one repository, I mean, this is great because
you can get a petabyte IBM SATA hard drive. It's actually an array of 1,000 terabyte disks, but you can buy it.
All right, I'll get on it. I'm right on it.
Yeah, that would take up some space. But I don't know.
These are for data centers and stuff, though.
Right.
This Samsung NVMe is $3,111.
Goodness.
But that's not even a petabyte. That's just 30.72 terabytes.
And you know what? That's not that bad for the price.
Well, you can get the $600 one.
What's not bad is the
sure.
$600 price.
Sure, but my point is even at that higher price point, if you do it like a per megabyte, because that's how it kind of used to be. When you get like a 40 gig or 40 megabyte drive, you'd go, all right, that's so many dollars per megabyte. And back in those days, it was like, I don't know, $50 a megabyte or some ridiculous number. No, it's not. It's like pennies. It's half pennies. I don't even know what it is if you did the math. That's just crazy.
Okay, this just annoys me. It's totally unrelated, really, to this conversation. But I was looking up petabyte hard drive, and of course, Amazon has a search result that says petabyte hard drives. So I click on it. There's no petabyte hard drives available on Amazon.
No, that's
well,
how they get
where did it send you?
It sent me to a list of hard drives
that are not petabyte hard
that
drives.
are definitely not like a 20 terabyte. They're big, I guess. The biggest hard drives you can buy on Amazon, but
Sure,
not anywhere close.
That's funny.
Yeah, we're not there yet.
No.
Yeah, I mean, my first computer was like my family's computer when I was a kid, but my first my very own computer was in college, and I think I could be getting this wrong, but I think it was like 20 megabytes. It was like a Computech.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
Where I was just like, wow, this is cool.
Yeah.
And I had to buy it on layaway.
My PS2 was the first of my
or
PCs with an actual hard drive in it.
Oh, nice.
Roger, what did you ask me?
Oh no, I said, were you buying that from the school bookstore, or you were buying it from the local?
No, it was just from my credit union, or probably my dad's credit union. It was just, it was I was going off to college and I needed a computer to. What did I even use it for? I mean, some basic email back and forth with my teachers. It really wasn't a school machine. It was kind of just a way to be on the internet. And this is in, 1995. Mm-hmm. So, the needs we had back then were very different.
Yep. Needs change, but I'll tell you what doesn't change: the ever-growing need for more storage. So there'll be a day when we're all going, yeah, I bought the 2 petabyte model. And then someone's going to go, well, are you going to get the exabyte one next year? Oh, I don't
When
need
are
that
you
kind of
ever going
space.
to need
Yeah.
2 petabytes?
Yeah, it's never going to seem, and that right now that does seem insane to say
Yeah.
that, but
Yeah.
I've been proven wrong every time in relatively quick fashion, and it also may get to a point. I've long thought this. I'm kind of surprised we're not there yet, but where we just don't even think about it because it's so tied to cloud, and so everything else is just my computer, and I have files, and I don't think about how much space they take.
I'm with Roger, though. The percentage of storage space that I'm filling up is slowing down. It used to be like I've had this machine now for 5 years almost, something like that, maybe 4 years. And by now, well, in the past, I would have already gone to a new machine because the processor would be too slow or whatever. But I would be getting close to filling up the hard drive.
Right.
And I would be, in some cases, I would just go buy a new hard drive and swap it out and put a higher capacity one. But I'm not even halfway on this one. So, yeah.
That's wild.
All right, everybody, let's talk Legend of Zelda. Casting has been announced for the Legend of Zelda movie, live action movie. So, Tom, who are our actors?
Ooh, yeah. This is not a Variety has the inside track thing. This is from Shigeru Miyamoto posting on X. And it is that they have cast Link and Zelda for the Legend of Zelda movie set to come to theaters May 7th, 2027. So, we're just in the casting phase. We got a couple of years yet.
A couple years out.
Yeah. Bo Bragason will play Princess Zelda. Anybody know Bo Bragason?
No, but
I'm
not
not
since
familiar,
Bo
but
Derek
let's
have I.
look it
Yeah, we haven't had a famous Bo in a while.
It's
So-
about time we needed a famous Bo actress.
Yeah.
Been in the Disney Plus series Renegade Nell, Final Fantasy 15. You know Renegade Nell, Roger. I know that.
I only know it because my kids occasionally might watch it, and I was like, "Oh, what is this show?" It's like that.
Is Bo Bragason Nell
Yes.
the aforementioned Renegade?
Yes.
Okay.
It is.
Perfect.
It is sort of like a period. I say period. I mean like 18th century.
That's period piece.
Period.
So
piece.
do you get a Zelda vibe from?
I mean,
Renegade
I've
Nell?
I've only played the first two, and the one before the Wind Waker. Or no, Wind Waker was the last Zelda game I played. So, no, I don't get that.
Okay.
She was
It was
awake.
a long no.
Yeah.
16-year-old Benjamin Evan Ainsworth will play Link. He was the voice of Pinocchio in Disney's 2022 live-action film. How many
the
of you, raise your
live-action
hand in
one.
chat, how many of you watched it?
I didn't. I saw the Del Toro one, the stop motion one. That was fantastic, but that other one was
Also, maybe, I know, Scott, you recognized him from this, Haunting of Bly Manor on Netflix.
Yeah, he was much younger in that, but for sure, that's why the face looked familiar to me at first. Actually,
and
yeah, go ahead.
If you're curious who's directing this, Wes Ball, who directed the Maze Runner movies and the most recent Planet of the Apes, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, is directing the Zelda movie. Apparently a lifelong Zelda fan. This is like a dream come true sort of situation. So,
Yeah,
what do we think? What do we think of Ainsworth and Bragason?
I think they look like perfect casting, and here's
They
why.
do. I
They
mean,
do
I'm looking both of them up right now, and it's like, they look
sorta
like
look it.
video game characters. In
they
a
really
weird
do.
way. And
He's-
I mean that in a nice way, not
Sure.
in a bad
Well,
way.
yeah,
but-
they need to look like video game characters. That's the idea,
Right.
right?
Yeah, there's two key aspects here. One, the characterization needs to be good. You make that kid's hair blonde, he's Link for sure. There's no problem there. You can do that with a lot of people. But the big kicker for me is don't cast well-knowns because it's distracting, especially in an adaptation like this. And this is a case where they didn't go with what everyone thought. They were like, "Oh, Anya Taylor-Joy should be Princess Zelda," and so-and-so, what's his name, Chalamet, he should be Link. It's like, come on, guys, slow down.
Timothy.
Yeah, that's what I say. What's his name? I couldn't think of his name.
Scott's like, who's that guy?
I
No
love
one's
that you
heard of
remembered
him.
Chalamet, but not Timothy. But
Yeah, the Timothy part, it's so close to Tomothy, and therefore Tom. I don't know what I was
Right.
saying.
Yeah.
But
Get that a lot.
these are not faces we're super familiar with, and their work is good. So it's not like we're hiring people that don't know how to act. We know that they can act. I think that that's the perfect way to do it. It keeps the distraction of the star power out of it, and instead you're focused on what's the story, what are these characters up to.
Well,
maybe
and I
seeing,
think, both Link and Zelda, and listen, I'm not going to pretend that I played any of these games, but they're supposed to be youthful, right?
Yeah.
So, that's what we're going for here. It's like
For the most part,
you can't, Brad Pitt can't be Link.
Right, especially because they probably won't want to set them up to make multiple movies. And while the characters are actually technically they're 100 years old, they look very young, and they stay looking very young in most of the games.
I will say I knew it was going to be live action, but I've always wondered why they went the live action route and not.
They could have. I agree with that.
What Tom was
Because
just
they want
saying.
money.
The way, I think they could have made money either way. I think, to your point, Roger, in this particular case, Mario makes way more sense to be animated, not live action. They even tried that and it didn't work. Also, it was terrible. But Zelda lends itself a little more to fantasy epic, and especially Tears of the Kingdom, and before that, Breath of the Wild. Those games are wildly imaginative, but also have an aesthetic that's very much like the elven forest and the harsh caves of whatever. It has a more modern fantasy vibe to it, and I think that fits pretty well. Tom's right about the age thing. Every game is set as almost a reset of the legend. That is why it's called The Legend of Zelda. That is why Link is different sometimes. He's older in some, younger than others, different styles, different art styles. And I don't just mean from 2D to 3D. In the 3D realm, they have changed a bunch. They're never the same story, just a lot of similar hooks. And that's the point of the Zelda series, is it's not one particular story. It's this amalgamation of legend. And so how they'll tell that story and keep that feeling of it being legendary, it's almost like a anthology series in a weird way.
Yeah.
Every single game is very different. They're not sequels to each other, except for Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild. Technically, those two are connected, but most of the time they're not. So how they handle that, I don't know. What that means for a series, maybe they break that rule and they don't recast for every single one, which is kind of what the games do. So I don't know, but I'm more excited than I thought I would be.
I hadn't thought about that. I mean, I look at 16 years old and 21 years old, and I'm like, oh, they want to keep making movies for the next 10 years, so they cast them as on the young side, so that they'll still look the part.
Right.
But then, I don't know. Look at how many people played Spider-Man or Batman or Superman.
Oh, I thought you meant
so
the
it's
video
it's like if you want to keep it going, you just cast somebody else.
You do
Yeah,
keep
but those
it
are
going.
always reboots. Whenever you recast,
Right.
you reboot, and reboot always has the risk of oh, you failed, and this time you're gonna,
Sometimes those reboots are just alternate reality, or not alternate reality, alternate versions or universes of those characters.
That
And
too.
comic books
Yeah,
do
that's
that a lot. It is kind of like that, I guess, in the Zelda series, but I think they could break that rule and just say, we want this cast around for 3 of these. Because movies are different. Let's tell a whole story in 3 parts. Let's do a big trilogy. Everyone wants a trilogy.
it also simplifies the contract.
It very much so does.
Well, and then once you have, I assume this movie is going to be very successful. You have the star, and you don't want to kind of restart from the beginning of trying to establish these actors in those roles with yet another movie, unless it really sucked, and then maybe it might be better to go that way.
Which is when you get the new Spider-Man.
What I find interesting is that this is a property from that started in 82, 83?
80.
Gosh.
No, Zelda 1 would have been 85 or so.
85.
Yeah, so that was-
so you're looking 20, 30, 35, 30 years.
Been a long
30
time.
years for it to make it to the screen.
Yeah.
All right, but who do we want to play Ganon? Ganon's the evil guy. He's the nemesis.
I would say Christopher Walken, because I believe
You,
every
Tom.
villain should be Christopher
He's
Walken.
too old. He's too old.
What are you trying to say, Sarah?
Who played?
I said it's an old evil. Oh, yeah. All right.
Who's the long nosed guy in Star Wars? Big nose guy. I'm not trying to be a pejorative.
Emperor Palpatine?
No, the other one. I
Ralph
can't
Fiennes?
go old. I don't. Roger wants to have this character.
Oh,
be
you mean
1,000.
the flying elephant thing from?
No,
Oh,
these are
you
all
think
you
long
want.
nose, he had a
You want
long
these
nose.
ancient beings to be. Ganon's a young, sort of young creature.
I
I'm
would say
talking-
middle-aged. Young is my piece.
Sure,
He's
but who's-
older than. So Jason Momoa.
Kylo Ren is who I meant.
Oh, Kylo Ren.
He would be perfect. He's got his face already. Paint that up all red. You're
yeah.
Ganon. You're done.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Adam Driver.
Yes.
Adam Driver.
Put him in the driver's seat.
The actor with the big nose.
Oh
like,
my god!
you made the
Driver,
CG
we are
element.
sorry. We know you're listening. Sorry.
I don't mean it rude. I like him.
Although
No,
I
no,
will
it's-
say,
it's
I don't think of
actually
him as
probably
having a
really
big
great role
nose.
for you.
I'm
Yeah.
going to say this, Adam Driver, if you're listening to the show, please, well, we'd love to have you on.
Yeah, come on in.
Yeah.
Roger's like, that'd
Let
be
us
a hell of
know,
a get. Yeah.
how you're gonna.
We'll clear our
Defend
calendar.
your
How you gonna
nose,
make it
Mr.
your
Driver. We'll support you against Scott Johnson.
I was like, Emperor Palpatine. It's like, yeah, that guy with a huge nose. It's
Yeah.
like,
Well, I was
I
thinking
feel
you were
like
talking
there was
about
a
the
lot of other
alien that
things
owned
you
Anakin
noticed about him.
Skywalker on Tatooine.
Who clearly
No.
would make a great Ganon.
Yeah. You're like, how
that's what
about
I was
the Sarlacc pit or Jabba the Hutt? No, I don't want any of those. None of those, please.
All right, so Adam Driver or Jason Momoa. Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm all right with Momoa. It's a
One of
good
the
one.
two. I'm fine with both.
Yeah. Let us know who you'd cast. Feedback at dailytechnewsshow.com or get in touch with us on social networks. We are at DTNS Show on X, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, and Mastodon, and on Tumblr and on Noster. Actually, I don't think we have Noster, but we do have Tumblr. For TikTok and YouTube, you can find us at Daily Tech News Show.
All right, Scott Johnson. Steam is implementing a new rule that is banning games that violate rules and standards regarding payment processors and banks. So let's break it down.
All right, so this is a report from Automation. They say that Steamworks Rules and Guidelines section, Steamworks being kind of the name they give all of their Steam structure, has a new clause in it, and it suggests that publishers are required to comply with the rules and standards set forth by various third-party entities, as you mentioned, involved in processing electronic payments. So not just their processing and their taking of fees, but everything else on the back end, that especially when it comes to adult content. That is specifically what's being targeted here. So it's what you shouldn't publish on Steam. Here is clause 15. Content that may violate the rules and standards set forth by Steam's payment processors and related card networks and banks or internet network providers, in particular, certain kinds of adult-only content. That's kind of the only clarification or lack of clarification they've given us. That's all that they've said. I have a theory about this. I think this is Steam saying we have a lot of pressure to limit, if not remove entirely, the amount of adult-only content that is currently on our platform. And they've been getting pressure from lots and lots of directions for years for that. And their general take on it has been, no, we think, we kind of have an open feeling about the freedom of expression and platform policy. In fact, you could argue that in 2018, when they really set this forward, they said, quote, everything on the platform, unless it's illegal or straight up trolling. This includes adult content as long as it complies with U.S. law and Steam's own guidelines, and then other territories may have different rules. But essentially, they'll adhere to the law, and they will adhere to if it's not just you're just trolling with fake games, we'll cancel those or we'll ban those. But everything else is kind of okay with us. The problem is everybody finds the edges and sees how far they can push it and how far they can go. So I think that this sets them up in a pretty smart way to put the blame somewhere else so that the backlash isn't against them. And there is already some backlash because all they're saying is, look, banks, processors, ISPs, everybody kind of in the in-between of all this, of the transactions, they have their own policies and rules. And they may not be the same as ours or the same as anyone else's. To help enforce those or help our partners enforce their own policies, we're going to help them enforce them at this level. We're going to say from now on, if Citibank will not do any transactions that may include content that is way over the line in their policy, we're not going to sell it to you, or we're not going to let you post, have it on the platform at all, let alone let anyone buy it. Now you're saying, so Scott, what does that mean? What's the slippery slope? Here are some recent removals to give you an idea. In the past day or so, around 20 to 22 adult-themed games, many of these featuring incest and sexual slavery, as an example, have been removed from the store, as they should be, in my opinion. But for a long time, it's been just sort of like anything goes. If we don't see any specific laws being broken, and they get very specific about the law thing, they just kind of let it go. I think this gives them a chance to clean things up a little bit, maybe put a brighter shine on that service, while not really being the bad guy here. They're kind of shifting blame to everybody else. And I'm curious how that lands on somebody who doesn't use the service. So Sarah, does that seem like enough to you that Steam is saying, well, as long as you don't break the rules of your card, people, then we're fine? Is that enough for them, or should they just have one of these, like an Apple standard where they're like, nope, no adult content on the service?
Yeah, I mean, good question. I definitely feel like there's a spectrum of, content that is inappropriate for some people, young people, or just, people in general. And so it's like, if you're Apple and you kind of go the route of like, no, we're family friendly, period, point blank, then that's one thing. Obviously there are services that serve a lot of other, interests of other folks, that even not necessarily are, bad, just, something that would be, Apple rejected.
Right.
That's fine. I think, you get into an area, and you talked about this a little bit, like certain areas where it's like, yeah, sure, that is serving some sort of a need because the internet just serves the needs of all sorts of people. But most of us would say, no, hard stop, can't do this. Yeah. So yeah, I don't really know where the line is between the kind of like, yeah, some fringe stuff, let people have their fun, and something that feels that it is harmful. And I think that's where you get into a different conversation. It's like, what is harmful versus just like, I don't know, somebody having some fun.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because some have countered already with the argument that this is a slippery slope. Today, it's something as terrible as incest as being portrayed in video games. Tomorrow, maybe it's broader genres or queer content or other things getting swept up into the vacuum of this thing. And that's the argument against it. Like, well, you start here, and we understand why you're starting here, but where does
that's
it end?
the conversation around the payment processors,
right.
though. And I think that's what Steam's doing here. I mean, they could be doing this because they don't get money for those games because the payment processors won't process them.
Right.
I feel like it, let's not make this more complicated than it is. This is not Steam's sleazy way of getting away with, not having responsibility for moderating. It could be as simple as like, yeah, MasterCard doesn't cut us the check for the thing you bought if it's this kind of game because they don't allow that. Go talk to them, but we're not going to let you sell it if we can't get paid. Right. If we don't get the money for it, then it doesn't make sense
Very
for us to carry it.
Conversation.
And then I think the conversation does properly belong with the payment processors of like, wait, what is your slippery slope? But I don't feel like the slope is slippery for Steam. They're saying like, yeah, if your payment's not going to get processed, then we can't sell it to you.
Well, that's why I think this is I don't want to suggest there's any kind of nefarious action going on from Steam, but I think that this is an easier path. This is a better path for them to take because they don't have to really own up to anything. They basically just have to adhere to the rules that their payment processors and those who are perhaps complaining.
But don't they anyway? I guess that's like, do they have a choice?
That's a question, because they aren't saying, and this is my biggest beef with the entire thing, is that in usual Valve fashion, they're not really talking. They're laying out a few basics, and that's it. They're not really saying where the lines are. They're not saying where the payment processors' lines are. They're not conveying any of their policies as to why these policies are now affecting their policies. They're just saying they exist, and they're not saying
object oriented. They're saying if it violates that set of processes, then we don't carry it. Go to that set of processes.
Yeah, basically that. And in a way, I think that's smart or safe for them. But in other ways, I'm like, well, where's my specifics, Valve? I don't personally. They've always given you as a user the tools to turn all that stuff off anyway. You don't have to ever be exposed to any of the adult content on Steam if you don't want to. So I've already been that guy who's had all that turned off. So it's never bothered me. For those who consume it, no judgment in your direction. But it's them that are complaining about the possible slippery slope. Again, if I had a beef in this at all, it would be clarity. Like, if you're going to tell people they can't do a thing, what are the gates? Where are they located? And so
But if they
developers
lay out
can-
the gates and the payment processors change them, which they do, then now Steam's in the business of having to keep its gates updated, and everyone going, you said the line was here and now you're moving it. And they're like, we're not moving it. The payment processor
That's a
is.
really good point.
So it
It-
is smarter to just be like, the line is whatever the payment processor says we'll accept the payment for.
Right, and that could change, but that ain't going to change here. It's going to change there, and if it does,
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
our blanket statement is going to cover it. And they can also do that because they don't have shareholder pressure, or they don't have a million other reasons why they would normally go a certain direction on this that other companies have. So I think that this is it's a bit of a weird win for them because they get to maintain their feeling of artistic expression and freedom of whatever, but they also get to implement some rules that aren't really their doing. And
I guess the argument you could make against Steam that would work for me is there are ways to pay for this kind of material. Why
Sure.
don't you accept those? You
Sure.
know, why are you only going with these banks and networks? And
Which
stuff?
is a
And there's
valid-
the ISP part of it, which is interesting as well.
yeah, that part.
I think
is
that's more
fascinating.
liability. They don't want the ISP pointing to them and saying, but it was them that was the platform that carried it. If you're suing us, you have to sue them too.
Yeah, and then you have the whole, oh my gosh, all the things about if
You know what
if someone
solves
posts
this,
an-
everyone? The
What?
blockchain.
Thank you. At least someone brave enough to say it for once.
You know what gamers love? The blockchain. So it'll
Yeah.
be great. Yeah, it'll all turn out.
All right, Roger. So moving on to GPUs that have high performance into a
For your
laptop.
blockchain.
Yeah.
Specifically, maybe so. It's a challenge that's a design challenge, but also a cost challenge. But Razer is reviving a product line to address that need. What's up?
Yeah, so Razer, if most people are familiar with, is a PC gaming peripheral company that make gaming keyboards, mice. They have a new, they have a new product in their Core X line called the Core X V2. It is a $350 external graphics enclosure as part of its Core X eGPU lineup. It will be the first to support Thunderbolt 5, the latest Thunderbolt spec. The unit comes with the enclosure, a 120 millimeter fan, and a Thunderbolt 5 cable. The user, if you purchase one, will need to supply their own PCI GPU. So, whether it's a RTX or a Radeon from AMD, you need to supply your own power supply, an ATX power supply, and away you go. Now, what's interesting is that previous Core X's came with a PlayStation, a power. If it came with a PlayStation,
Vita, weirdly.
it came
Weird.
with its own power supply. But I think they decided to go with this because so many of the GPUs on offer today, especially the upper tiers, require so much more power that if they were to include, say, like an 800 or 650 watt power supply, it would just be too
Then why
expensive
isn't it
almost.
cheaper, Roger? If they're not giving you the power supply,
Because 5 is better than 4 and has Thunderbolt 5. Now, I will say Thunderbolt 5, the latest spec of Thunderbolt, is actually, unlike the move from Thunderbolt 3 to 4, there's actual performance difference.
Sure. And power
one is,
delivery difference.
one it has is it's 80 gigabit bits per second bidirectional transfer speed. Now, if you want to, you can go into a boost mode, which moves it to 120 gigabits in one way, with the other direction only getting 40 gigabits per second. The idea, of course, being in more video-intensive scenarios, you would have the open bandwidth to supply the necessary data. If you were on a PC, think of this as a PCIe 3, a Gen 3, 16-lane bandwidth. So that's pretty good. I mean, it's not the latest. It's not even Gen 4, but it's so much better than what we have. And because the packet sizes are slightly larger.
But in an external, that's what.
In external.
Yeah.
And the great thing about
You're getting
this
internal level speeds in an external GPU.
if
If you've got the machine that supports
Yeah.
Thunderbolt 5, which how many of those are there?
Well, they're just coming out. All the latest MacBooks will. Thunderbolt 5 just came out, and what is great about this is because it offers enough bandwidth that you can do so many things over one cable than you could before with Thunderbolt 4. The advantage for people who want to game, though, is that with this device or with this chassis, you can get a desktop grade GPU and ideally be able to play games with a slightly more fidelity than with the inbuilt GPU comes with the laptop. For people with a mobile RTX 5060, a 5070, yes, those are NVIDIA parts, but despite the name, they are not the equivalent of the desktop 5070 or the 5060, and a few bits, a few frames slower. So this is a great way, especially if you don't need to carry around a big GPU all the time because it's just for gaming, but you still do your majority of your work on your laptop. It does offer a little flexibility.
I did have a Thunderbolt 4 older, but I think the last model of the minis they made, the Mac minis, and it had an option for that to go out to an external card. They were never great, but it was definitely a boost, right? I could see the difference. So I think that as long as people understand that they're maybe not going to be, it's not like running a 5090 Ti in your machine.
No. And so the one of the disadvantages of Thunderbolt 4 in previous iterations is there was a lot of overhead that was taken up by basically converting the Thunderbolt into PCIe lanes and then back over. And so ideally with Thunderbolt 5, they've increased the packet size so less of that translation needs to occur.
Right.
Again, you're not getting the same sort of bandwidth you would get with a motherboard, but at the same time, this hopefully resolves a lot of the connectivity issues that people have had with Thunderbolt 4 or Thunderbolt 3 external GPUs. Is kind of why they sort of fell by the wayside, is people were spending a lot of money, somewhere up to like $800-900 for the chassis and the GPU, and they were still getting lackluster results. Hopefully, Thunderbolt 5 alleviates that, and at least for now, it's a little bit. It's even faster than the Oculus Link, Oculink.
Right. The whatever they call that. Yeah.
The shoehorned in data center connector that people used on laptops to connect GPUs.
Right. It's interesting. I like it because it's modular. I like the idea of having maybe a notebook that isn't all that powerful, but then here's a way to make it when you need it to be for gaming or something else.
It does signal at some point the whole idea of sticking video cards in a PC will eventually go away because you will have enough bandwidth over an external bus connection that you could put it into an expansion chassis that doesn't necessarily need to be the same unit your computer's in.
Right.
Which is awesome. I mean, I think it's awesome. Think about it. You have a laptop, you go to work, you fly somewhere for work, you come back, you still have the GPU. So if you do any sort of encoding, you do any sort of crypto mining, you do any sort of gaming, you can have that in a place where you do a majority of that, but you're not lugging it around, right? You don't need to lug over an entire case for a PC. And again, it does offer some flexibility. Not 100% fungible. You're not doing desktop gaming on a laptop at the same fidelity, but it is a huge step.
Yep. It's pretty cool.
All right, everybody, let's check out the mailbag.
Andrew from Colorado writes, yesterday was the first time I heard my M2 Mac Mini's fan, and it was because I was running a local text-to-speech model to turn an ebook into an audiobook. And that process works locally, but it's not real time. Every second of audio takes 2.5 seconds to generate. So I think he's trying to impress upon us this is a process-intensive thing, and it took that to make that fan show up. He said, I thought I was done with this project, but your discussion of accents makes me want to integrate voice matching right now. So,
oh, Andrew.
Yeah.
Well, that's up to you. But I mean, good reminder that we can push some of these new machines to have that wheeze.
Yeah.
After all, just
and
depends on
pulling
what
in the
you're
story
doing.
that Roger brought to us yesterday about all the the models for accents. Andrew, let us know if you actually get some of those models working in there. I'd be interested to hear that.
I think it's great. I mean, one of the great things about the Apple Silicon for a long time was just like how cool it ran, and you didn't need the fan. But when it does spin up, it does signify that some serious.
You're
processing
working
is
it
going on.
if you get the fan to spin.
You really
for sure.
are. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, again, I have two. Well, I have an M1 and an M4, and I mean, they just sit there silently.
Yeah.
They-
my
they-
studio
they
is
do
I have
also
an
not- they
M1.
do not talk
I'll
to
never
me.
hear that fan. Yeah.
Yeah, my what is mine? M2, whatever it is. My studio over here is doing a lot of things for me, and it just doesn't blow any hot air. So I don't know.
You
I
know
don't
what's going to
these
get
silicon chips are
our heat raised is Laminar Rainbow giving us a $3 super sticker. Thank you, Laminar Rainbow.
Hey.
Awesome.
Got my fan running.
Wow.
Hello.
If you're sort of like, no, my fan runs for various reasons, or you have anything that anything that we've
This
talked
fan
about.
doesn't run.
Yeah. This feels like a, I don't know, like a 1970s song, like my fan runs.
That's right.
Yeah.
Keep the fan running.
Something about your car, your
Manfred
cool
Mann
car.
Yeah.
Head out
I like
on
it.
the PCI.
Something like that. Yeah, something like that. But if you have any thoughts about this or anything that we've talked about on the show or anything that we're going to talk about on a future show, we want to hear from you. Remember, you can send in your comments to feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. And if you're a patron, of course, you can send us notes on Patreon as well, because we post everything there and we look at all our comments there as well.
Nice.
Scott Johnson, King of Men.
Oh, geez. I don't know about
You're gonna save Zelda. I'm sure of it. But when you're not doing that, where can we find you?
Well, we're going to talk some about that casting tomorrow and lots of other things, including my early impressions of the new Donkey Kong game, speaking of Nintendo, as part of our video game show called Core, where we talk about industry-level stuff all the way down to what games will be playing this week, everything in between, me and my buddy John and Bo. Just having a great time over there. So do come check it out. It's frogpants.com/core or wherever you get your shows.
All right, my friends, it is time to check the titles. What? 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 6 titles tied for first.
Goodness.
Of course,
my
there's
gosh.
Chi Whiz,
Wow.
spelled
Gee whiz is
QI,
funny.
like the charging
that's-
standard.
Yeah, I like
I
that.
like that a lot.
How big is your
It makes me think
HDD?
of Cheese Whiz, and I want that.
Yeah, that's another reason. I also like it for that, sorry. Sounds
Back up your backups.
Yeah.
Yep.
Terabytes aren't as big as they used to be.
It's just
Dude,
good
where's
advice.
my hard drive?
Goodness.
Nice.
Tom's pet peeve.
Yeah.
I like this one from Zoe. Sorry, Adam Driver.
Oh, yeah. I feel a little bad about
I
Just
feel
put it right up in the
bad.
title.
Adam
Yeah.
Driver didn't do anything to us.
No, he's
Goodness
great.
gracious.
He's great.
Yeah, he's a
No
good
complaints.
actor.
Remember, Adam, if you ever want to be on the show, let me know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ganon in
Adam,
the-
we know you're listening, so just let us
course,
know
yeah.
when.
Don't
when
be
you're
shy.
there.
Feedback at dailytechnewsshow.com.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Feedback at dailytechnewsshow.com works.
Sure.
We got Ganon in the driver's seat. Steam gets less steamy.
That's pretty good.
Feeding your
Pretty
inner
good.
vulture.
I
Ham
love
and
it.
cheese.
Old joke.
Yeah.
Ham and cheese. Hammer and cheese would be even work because we talked about the hammer protocol.
True.
True that.
Also, ham and cheese sounds really good now. Thanks a lot,
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah,
It
thanks,
does.
everyone. You're great.
Sarah, what should we pick?
Well, we went with Stealth Dave's Ganon in the driver's seat.
All right.
Get
Thank you,
it?
Stealth Dave.
Get it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty good.
Huh? Yeah.
Pretty good.
I thought it was good as well.
Call us, Adam. All right, let's check all the people who watch the show and support us in the various ways. Laminar Rainbow gave us a super sticker. Thank you, Laminar Rainbow, for doing that on YouTube. Thanks to the folks watching us on LinkedIn. DTNS Duster Brush 50 gave us a follow during the show. Thank you, Duster Brush. Zoe Brings Bacon with some bits. Theater Monkey resubscribed for the 70th month. He also runs the channel, so free money, from Prime. Chaz Basden resubscribed with Prime for the 57th month. Minion Monkey 5150, 18 months at tier 1. Woohoo. Thank you, Minion Monkey. And thank you, everyone, for supporting us in all the various ways you can, including patreon.com/DTNS.
And if you are looking for a fun gift for yourself, maybe a coworker
Treat
or a friend, just I don't know, maybe you're like, you know what, this mug is kind of lame. I wish it had more personality. Well, we're here for you. Over at dailytechnewsshow.com/store, you can pick up things like mugs, t-shirts, mouse pads, and they also are displaying our new fancy DTNS Live logo. They're great gifts. Great way to support the show for yourself or for someone you care about. If you are so inclined, send us a photo of yourself with one of our store merch. We'd love to see that as well. Just a reminder, you can watch us live Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 2000 UTC. If you're with us live, you already know this. But for everybody else, that's when we do it. And you can find out more at dailytechnewsshow.com/live. Doing it all again tomorrow, and we'll talk to you then.
The DTNS family of podcasts, helping each other understand.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.